welcome back to the second video recording session of Soft Skill Project. Nice to see you all again. And how y'all doing?
Yeah, doing
I'm doing
great.
good.
We are doing good.
Well, that sounds good. All right. Today we are here to discuss about the main problems in online classes during COVID-19 pandemic. Well, before we begin the discussion, let me introduce all the speakers. I'm Ilamadin Huyandi, the moderator, and will be speaker 5 for today's discussion. Jyothisree Vasudevan as speaker 1, Gunaraj Gajendran as speaker 2, Isaac Raj as speaker 3, and lastly Dinesh Shaktivelu as speaker 4. Let us hear from our first speaker, Jyothisree, about the main problems faced by students.
Okay, thank you, Elamadi. Good day, everyone. Before presenting, I'm glad that we are connected back in order to complete this task. I'm going to present on the main problems that been facing by the student in online classes. The phrase called main problem here refers a problem which is a situation that causes difficulties for the people. In our issue, the people here refers the students actually. In order to study the main problems, we have referred this valid source as you can view in the next slide. Next slide, please. Sorry, yes, this is the slide actually, previous one. Yeah, the source. Where we have referred this journal titled Online Learning Challenges During Pandemic COVID-19 in Malaysian Higher Learning Institution. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, as you can see here, these are the main problems. First of all, the internet problem. Based on this journal, the findings indicated that the majority of the students are not ready for online learning as the main challenge faced by the low internet access. It is usually the speed of the connection that is limiting factor here. Second problem is the worry on online learning, where we as students might have experienced it too. The study that conducted in this journal that we referred before has pointed out this statement from a student saying that even in class, it's difficult to understand one subject at a time. What more if it is conducted online and I'm a slow learner? This is a statement by a student in this journal study. So this clearly highlights the real challenge facing by the student. Apart from worrying, the non-conducive learning environment also listed as the main problem of this online issue. The restlessness over a non-conducive environment which prevents students from engaging in an online learning session. Most of the students come from low-income family background. They live in a small house with small siblings, whereby some do not have their own rooms or private space for an online learning space. In short, these are the main problems that I have extracted from the our topic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jyothisree. Actually, these three problems are really creates a lot of challenges for students to attend online classes. Jyothisree, actually, I would like to ask you one question regarding it. Would you like to suggest any recommendations to ensure good network connection for students?
Yes, I have one suggestion to be shared with you all here. First of all, what they can do is the network infrastructure should be upgraded nationally to support more than 1 million students accessing the internet at the same time. Since the quality of the online learning is heavily dependent on the reliability of the digital access. Then the university role here, where universities must increase their server to avoid uninterrupted online teaching and learning activities on their university platform, like we using the Kalam and also e-community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyothisree, for the recommendations. And now let us hear from Gunaraj, the second speaker, about how to gather relevant information from the root cause of these problems.
Good day, friends. My name is Gunaraj, and I'm glad that we all gathered for the second video. Okay, let me talk about my part, which is searching and gathering relevant information about our problems. So, firstly, what's online class? Online learning has its origin in what was traditionally known as distance education. Today, many providers of distance education have become fully online or known as remote learning, where all teaching and learning materials are made available to students online. Okay, next information is the announcement of Movement Control Order, MCO, in Malaysia. Okay, in March 2020, the world was shaken by the declaration of COVID-19 as a global pandemic by the World Health Organization, as the infectious disease rapidly spread out outside China, infecting and claiming millions of lives. Countries including Malaysia have taken up decisive actions to mitigate the spread of virus to a full-blown pandemic and resulting in schools and universities shutting across the world, forcing people to stay home. This pandemic has suddenly transformed the landscape of learning and teaching around the world, where online is seen as the only available option to replace conventional teaching with many benefits in effectiveness. Okay, well, the next thing is education institutions have taken to continue learning through digital means, where they need to adapt new learning process that do not allow physical meeting. The rapid advancement of new technologies have dramatically required the higher education institution to provide online teaching and learning platforms in university campuses through blending learning. This shows that many students express their uneasiness and worries over the idea of implementing online learning. They stated the feeling of unreadiness for online learning due to the physical distance requirements, as all teaching and learning activities are shifted from traditional classroom meetings to distance learning, either online or offline. The next information is has raised concern on how students are to cope with this new online learning environment. Okay, the participants profess the emotion state of grappling with e-learning because of inadequate and acumen and unconducive environments. This unexpected pandemic situation have changed the education landscape in Malaysia and give significant impact on both the educators and the students. Students from low-income families are likely to suffer more and are not physically and mentally prepared for the changes in teaching delivery via online learning, where online learning is very dependent on the internet access and it is very challenging. Okay, the problems that leads to this online learning is first one, as Jodhishri said, a non-conductive learning environment. The secondly is internet problem, and thirdly is worrying on online learning. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, Gunaraj, for the clear explanation. Then next, I would like to hear from the third speaker, Isaac Rush, to share about how can manage the information in 4 wife, 1 husband concept.
Thank you for the moderator, Alamadi, for guiding us in this meeting. So let me start. Next slide. As a speaker 3, my task today is to manage the information in narrative paragraph with 4W1H concept. So let's see. So the first W that I would like to introduce is when. When this online learning challenges the students started. So everybody know in March 2020, the world was shaken by the declaration of COVID-19 as a global pandemic. So this pandemic has suddenly transformed the landscape of learning and teaching around the world. So secondly, I'll move into why. Online learning is seen as the only available option to replace conventional teaching with many benefits in effectiveness. The dynamic and innovative online learning environments enable students to have a meaningful learning experience and become the future of education. Hence, Education Ministry in Malaysia, which known as MOE, have moved their classes online to ensure continuity to the teaching and learning process and minimize the spread of infection. Early precautions have been taken by allowing all public universities to have their own autonomy in exercising remote online learning to contain the spread. All academicians and institutions are now challenged with minimizing the impact on students. So my third W will be what? What are the challenges that the students are facing? So I'll be telling the 3 challenges as what Jodhishri as the speaker once said. Internet problem. Internet problem is the main problem. It's a limited internet access in rural areas. Network coverage is also not strong enough to access most of the time. Worried if during online classes, they cannot access the internet. The second problem will be worry on online learning. This is because online learning causes students not to be able to focus 100%, especially in apps. Thirdly is non-conductive learning environment, which students who cannot study online at home due to the fact that the siblings are still small and the house space is small and there is no special place to study. So moving to the next W, which is where. Some parts of Malaysia experience poor internet connectivity due to the geographical area. Not only that, the comparatively sluggish internet speed during the MCO is largely due to high usage and also infrastructure issue. It is usually the speed of the connection that is the limiting factor, and with the low internet connection hinders the online learning sessions. The main common reasons we hear is like limited internet access in rural areas, my home internet is very slow, network coverage is also not strong enough to access. These are the main reasons that the teachers or lecturers are receiving from the students whenever there is online classes. So moving on to the last question, which is how. How should government find a solution, provide supports and services for lecturers and students? One key element to ensure quality online education is the having effectiveness support services. Such support services must be extended to both academicians and students to maintain their motivation for online learning. Due to the global pandemic and the drastic shift to fully online learning may cause a spark of uncertainty and ambivalence when dealing with technology. Online learning can actually be as effective as face-to-face education, but universities need to upskill their staffs to deliver online education effectively and efficiently to avoid students easily disengage and drop out early. A lack of skill and experience among academicians, particularly in online course design and pedagogy, impacted negatively on student learning and engagement. So these are the four W1H questions that I said earlier. So I think I've done my part. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Actually, I have one question for you. Can you give an example for what are the ways that can be done to help the students in rural areas to overcome the internet issues?
Okay, let me explain this. Okay, I can the government can actually collaborate with the telecommunication companies to upgrade the internet access in the rural areas. They can build more towers, something like that, so which the rural people from rural area can get internet access easily. This is the main way. This is the main thing that can be done to help them to solve these issues, because we doesn't know this pandemic is going to end very soon or it's going to take their time. So in this case, we just do it lah. The government have to collaborate with the telecommunication companies to build more towers so that the students and also the people to access the internet easily. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Isaac, for the great sharing. And now, Dinesh, the fourth speaker, will share about how to identify the root cause of the problem based on critical analysis.
Okay, thank you, Lamadi. So I would like to talk about deep and critical analysis on the challenges faced by students on online learning. Next slide. Okay, so based on this Universal Journal of Educational Research, in Malaysia, there are currently 20 public universities and 41 private universities with enrollment of more than 1.2 million students. So a survey was carried out among students in a particular university, which is stated in this journal. The participants of the survey are encouraged to state their opinions on what are the challenges that they might face while doing their online learning, and the results are stipulated in the table 1, which you can see. The majority of the participants, 79.3%, indicated that they might face internet problems, either low internet speed or no Wi-Fi connections at all. More importantly, 8.1% of the participants stated that they are worried on the effectiveness of the online learning method. And other participants stated that about 8.8% pointed out non-conducive learning environment as their main concerns in the hindrance of online learning. Okay, next slide. Okay, here I would like to talk about illustrative quotations by the students, which is carried out by the survey. So for internet problem, students have stated that limited internet access in rural areas, network coverage is also not so strong enough to access most of the time. Worried if during online class I cannot access the internet. At home, I do not have Wi-Fi. If there is online learning, I have to buy data to get the internet. My telco offers internet data that is less affordable and short time for the internet data. It is not worth it for me to buy the internet data. And then in my residential park area, the internet line is quite slow. This makes it difficult for me to access the university's online learning platform and send the assignment. And then if we see worries on online learning, they have stated that, in my opinion, even in class, it is difficult to understand one subject at a time. What more if it is conducted online and I am a slow learner because there are no tutorials from the lecture, and a section to ask questions will be also be difficult during online classes. And then thirdly, we see for non-conducive environment, there are students who cannot study online at home due to the fact that the siblings are still small and the house space is small and there is no special place to study. Sometimes my house area, like flats or apartments, is a little noisy. Want to study outside also not allowed, as the government's movement control order, which is prevents them from leaving the house. Okay. And then another survey is carried out, which is on student readiness towards online learning. It can be seen that the vast majority of the participants, 93.9%, stated that they are not ready for online learning. Meanwhile, only 6.1% only agreed. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Okay. Before the conclusion part, do any one of you like to add on any comments or opinions to others' explanation? Dinesh, would you like to add on
Yeah.
something?
I want to
I
add
would
on
like to
something.
talk. Okay,
Okay,
good on
you
carry
start
on.
first.
Okay.
You start first. Never mind. It's okay.
Okay. So I'd like to talk about what Isaac Raj told. Okay, from my opinion, I think that what Isaac Raj told was absolutely correct. Students from rural areas have internet access issues. They have they also have lower literacy rates than urban and suburban students in technology users. Additionally, students living in poverty are more likely to drop out of college or universities or never attend college and universities at all. So this is what I'm. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to talk about the same point which was talked by Isaac. Okay, he said that we have to combine, our government have to combine with the telecommunication companies to build the internet connection stronger at rural areas. But currently, due to this pandemic, our country and all the services at our country, which have companies and like companies and all kind of things, they are financially broken. Like we are on a financial crisis where we need more money and more financial to build the to do a combination with the telecommunication companies to build towers, because in order to increase the internet connection, we need towers at certain places of rural areas. And in order to build a tower, it takes up some amount of and big amount of financial need, where we are not in the condition to do that. And I would like for the government to do a different kind of methods to collect financial donations from people, and then to increase these kind of things for the students' wellness. Thank you.
For your sharing. And for conclusion, in our discussion, we focused mainly about three main problems. They are internet problem, wording on online learning, and non-conductive learning environment. Internet problem is due to spread of students in numerous locations, leads to connection, establishment, and sense of community within the class. This problem can be overcome by checking the internet speed before entering class, or even institute management can prepare internet services for students who are not affordable to set internet system in the house. After that, some of students struggle to adapt to the online classes and the poor time management. This can be only solved out when Students learn to accept the change and reap the benefits of online learning. And students should practice themselves with time management and keep prioritized to do this, making study calendar and using phone apps. Lastly, one of the biggest challenges is the non-conductive learning environment, which prevents the student from engaging in online session. This issue can only be sought out by Ministry of Education by organizing certain projects which can raise funds and it can improve the life of students from low backgrounds. Thank you for your time and we may end our section now. Bye.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you.